Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on the What I Love About Sex podcast. So today's a really important lesson I just want to put right out there because I'm sure pretty much all of you are going to relate to this. And it seems obvious at first, but really hear me out here. The way you masturbate has a lot to do with what you're capable of doing during sex with a partner. Because you are essentially training yourself to get aroused by a certain type of touch, by a certain imagery or visual. And let's say, for example, you're used to squeezing the tip of your dick, and that's where you put most of the physical focus, and you watch porn while you do that. And the imagery of the porno is something that's It's some kink, it's something really intense, maybe even not even really intense, but maybe you always watch threesomes, let's say. So being that you're consistently, even if it's not every time, consistently watching an experience that's not so realistic for you, as well as touching yourself in a way that is not realistic with how you would have sex with a partner, means it's going to impact your sex with a partner because you're training yourself to get off this one way, and then you expect yourself to get off a completely different way when with a partner, which is one person and which involves a lot more of your shaft, right, for intercourse. And then you wonder, why do I have, erection issues with a partner? Or why do I get performance anxiety with a partner? Because you're not used to getting aroused that way. You don't train yourself to get off that way. So there's no practice there. So it feels like you're doing something that you don't usually do at all. And you're taking away the control you have over this situation. Because if you were to focus on your masturbation in more of a way that can be replicated with a partner, you would feel really comfortable and confident going into a sex experience. Okay, so if you're at this point where you hardly masturbate at all, I encourage you to masturbate and train yourself, body and mind, strengthen that body-mind connection so that when you are with a partner, it doesn't feel like this foreign activity, or it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm not used to being touched this way, or my dick isn't used to feeling like that. And then you get in your head because you're like, this is new, or this isn't a feeling I'm used to getting off with. Am I going to get off? Am I going to get off too soon? Like, you question yourself because you don't have that confidence in how your body functions. And I'm not saying that you can never watch porn or you can never, squeeze the tip of your dick if that feels good for you. But it's like, what is the consistency in your masturbation routine? And if you're struggling with sex with a partner, and that means maybe you're coming too soon, like you're coming way before you want to, or you're not coming at all, or you're having erection issues, performance anxiety. Like if that stuff is happening with a partner, then you have to realize you have control over helping yourself in a massive way through your masturbation routine. If you have no issues and everything's fine, then cool. You don't have to don't worry about this. Don't think too much into it. But still, even you guys who don't have issues know that your masturbation habits play a big part in your confidence and also the way sex goes with a partner. When we work on ourselves at all with anything in life, like when we get to know ourselves and we feel proud of ourselves and who we are, then we go out in the world not afraid to show ourselves, right? We're just like, this is me. It's the same when it comes to sex. Like when you really get to know yourself sexually, meaning in your masturbation routine, and you really know what turns you on, and you really know what type of touch feels best, and you really know what positions you want to do and get off with, and you know what fantasies you're into. When you're fully aware of that and you feel like good about it, you're like, you embrace it as this is me and this is what I enjoy, then when it comes to sex with a partner, you're more relaxed, you're more likely to ask your partner to partake in the types of things you enjoy and what you like, and you trust your body and you're able to relax with a partner because you know yourself so well and you have that confidence. And that's an important point too, is like, if you can relax with a partner, you are so much more likely to reach orgasm. And I always tell guys, I tell my clients, you need a certain level of relaxation in order to get aroused. Otherwise, you can't get aroused. Like the body can't get aroused from a place of like being highly strung or like really nervous. You're not gonna go from being super anxious and nervous to hyper turned on. It doesn't work that way. If you're really nervous, you have to find a way to relax yourself. At least take a few moments. Maybe say, hey, this isn't the best night for me. Let me just focus on you. Whatever it takes to give yourself some space and relaxation, to take a few deep breaths and put your body in a calm state so that you can get back to being aroused or get aroused at all, And that's when the arousal is going to feel best, and that's when everything's going to flow and you're going to be able to be more present with a partner. But a lot of this comes down to the confidence you have in yourself and your body. And you can create so much confidence through your masturbation routine if you wanted to, if you chose to, like if you were intentional about it. Because I know there's a lot of you who are just like, yeah, I just keep falling back into porn. I can't stop watching porn. It's like, no, you can. You're choosing not to. So you have to understand why you're choosing not to and what you want to choose in order to feel more control over yourself. Because if you were to change things and really commit to masturbating differently, if you're not enjoying your sex life currently, like when you commit to that, there's no external pressure during your masturbation routine. So it's like, that's just you. It's you by yourself, and you can work on it and improve sex with your partner when you're by yourself masturbating. So like, why not take advantage of that opportunity? And for all you guys that are like, oh, I don't want to masturbate that much, you don't have to ejaculate if you don't want. I know some guys are like, oh my God, then I'm going to have blue balls. It's going to be uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to get all turned on and then not ejaculate. So I'd rather not masturbate at all. But masturbation is the sex relationship you have with yourself. It's important. There's a ton of health benefits. And there's no, I'm not saying you have to do it every day. I'm not saying you have to do it 5 times a week. I have clients who do it once a week and they feel great. I have clients who do it 5 times a week. They feel great. I have guys who do it sometimes multiple times a day and they feel great. So you have to understand what feels good for you and understand that you at least, there's a Harvard study. I haven't looked into the study, but I heard this from a mentor recently, and I'll post the study in the description of this episode. But there's a Harvard study that recommends men to ejaculate 4 times a week in order to prevent prostate cancer. That's a healthy amount. So don't freak out thinking that, oh, if I masturbate or ejaculate too much, I won't be turned on enough. I won't be connected to a woman. I want to hold off for a woman. I know a lot of you feel that way, but just because you ejaculate often, let's say like 4 times a week, which who's to say that's often, like that's subjective, it does not have to impact your libido. You can find ways around that. Like you are still able to get horny. And this could have to do with your testosterone levels. This might have to do with your relationship dynamic. But a lot of guys, what they do is they think that spontaneous arousal is how it always should feel. So a lot of guys think that, oh, I should just get naturally horny. And if I'm not getting naturally horny, like just randomly turned on, then that means, it's not really going to be a good sex experience for my partner. And that's not true. What's true is that most guys do have spontaneous arousal, which means most guys do naturally just randomly get turned on. And most women don't. Most women need something to give them that spark of arousal so that they can start getting horny. So for women, it's more like a responsive desire. There's responsive and spontaneous. So most women are mostly in a responsive desire, meaning they react to something, they respond to something in order to get horny. Men will just be horny. That's not to say that one's right and one's wrong, and one is like the man way and one is the woman way. It just so happens that more men are, the majority of the time, spontaneous arousal. But there are also men who majority of the time are responsive arousal. And every man is at least a little bit responsive arousal. So what you have to realize is that during those times when you feel like you're not spontaneously aroused, let's say you ejaculated because you masturbated earlier that day. So you're like, oh, I like wasted it on masturbation. Try not to say that. And don't think of it that way. Just think of it like, okay, that was the natural, that was the spontaneous arousal I had. So I masturbated, but now I can take advantage of responsive arousal, which means maybe I can I can start a certain conversation with my partner that gets us interacting in a sexy way. And because of that interaction, I could get turned on again. Like it's putting yourself more out there intentionally to create a sexual environment so that you are triggered again sexually. So you're kind of creating it instead of just expecting it to happen. And we're all capable of doing that. So don't think that you wasted your ejaculation and now you're not going to be good in bed or you're not going to get horny or as hard. That is not necessarily true. And I have client after client prove that, because most of my clients, when we work together, I have them masturbate in the beginning, like the first month, they're masturbating like 3 to 4 times a week, depending on their goal and what we have to work on. But I always tell them like, hey, just because you have a partner, just because you're having sex doesn't mean you shouldn't be masturbating to practice this, because we're trying to fix a problem here and we're trying to retrain your body and mind. And the best way to retrain it is when you're by yourself, not feeling external pressure, and really ingraining a new technique and a new mindset around your sex relationship with yourself. So regardless of them doing that amount of masturbating, they still have sex with their partners and it's still improving as they work with me. So there's just no, I know everyone is different. So yeah, there's going to be guys where it is harder to get hard after you've ejaculated. It's definitely a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing at all, but you can create that level of arousal a lot more than you think you can. Let's put it that way. Know that masturbation is your friend. It is an excellent training tool, and it will help you improve the way you see your body. Or I should say it can, if you choose. It can, and if you use it the right way, it can help you improve your body image, improve your confidence in yourself sexually, improve your positions that you're able to come in or with. It's able to improve your erection issues. It can help you improve your premature ejaculation, your delayed ejaculation. So understand that it is a wildly underestimated tool. I'm so passionate about it and that's why I created sex meditations, because I really, truly, 100% believe in using masturbation as a tool for the good to help you guys and help you mentally and physically. So passionate. Everybody masturbate, go. No, but it's how you do it. Just like everything else in life. Like, how are you going into it? And how are you actually doing it and for what purpose? Not that like every time you masturbate, you have to be thinking about a certain thing and it has to be intense and it has to you have to learn from it every single time, but you can use it as a tool is what I'm saying. If this speaks to you and you're in a situation where you're like, oh man, yeah, I really need to work on my sex life. I'm not sure if I'm ready for coaching yet, one-on-one, but I got to do something. I got to get out of the situation I'm in and towards closer to what I want. If that's you, then check out my freebie I made. I made a free training for you guys. It's called 3 Steps to Fix Your Sex Life. And it just takes you back to the basics of like, if I was to make a move to start improving my sex life right now, what are the first things I need to think about and then do? So there's a training for you once you sign up. I'll put the link in the description of this episode, but once you sign up, you'll watch a training and then you can expect some emails from me over the course of like 2 weeks, just giving you small action steps to take so that you feel like you're making progress. I mean, so you actually are making progress, not that you just feel like it. But a lot of the starting off and building momentum towards getting the sex life you want and feeling the way you want to feel sexually, it has to do with the small things, like the small things that start building momentum and that you recognize as like, wow, that wasn't that hard. That was pretty easy. Okay, cool. I did that. What's next? And when you build that momentum, you build confidence, and then you're able to take on bigger actions that maybe feel a little more difficult and challenging, like maybe a sex conversation with your partner around something you find awkward, right? But you can't just dive into an awkward sex conversation with your partner if you are feeling really not good sexually, if you're feeling embarrassed by the last sexual performance you had, you're not going to just make these huge leaps out of nowhere. You have to go back to the basics and you have to start with where you're comfortable. And if you can make some actions, take some actions where you're comfortable and succeed with those actions, you're going to feel like, okay, cool. I could do this. What's the next thing? And then you get to the point where you are ready for those harder things, like those tough conversations. But check out the training. It's going to help you start off with those small action steps to help you build momentum. And then, maybe by the time you take those actions, you might be ready for coaching, or you might be ready to take the hard step that you need to take that you've been avoiding because you haven't feeling confident enough yet. If you want that training, 3 Steps to Fix Your Sex Life, check it out in the description of this episode. And that's it, guys. Have an amazing morning, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. And I will talk to you soon.